In today's video, we're looking at a messy forecast as we get close to Thanksgiving. And when I say messy, I mean it's kind of ugly. We've got a battle going on here with the forecast models. And not only that, we've got a battle among folks watching the videos here. Listen, this is just science. It's not exact. We're seeing the idea that we turn cold heading into December. Are we going to see a storm? That's the main question. We're going to dig into those details today. Thanks for coming by, guys. If it's your first time on the channel, I appreciate you watching. A lot of you have subscribed, so thank you very much. If you're new, I'm Travis Roberts. I used to be a television chief meteorologist, but we're doing these videos here on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy them. So if you do, come back and subscribe. Let's look at what's going on across the Arctic. This is the snowpack that we were seeing across Canada last week. Well, over a week ago now, really almost 2 weeks ago. We had some snow here in Alberta, but look at what we're looking at now. Boom, a lot more snow here, and that means that cold air that moves south would likely have a better chance of making it south. I want to start off the West Coast. This is where really our system is, our energy that will be moving east as we head into Thanksgiving week. It's still out to sea. We're starting to get some returns, at least some data that's getting plugged into the models here across the West Coast. But what's going on here aloft? I mean, the models are interpolating the best they can. It's one of the reasons we're seeing such a difference in what the outcomes will be. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on across the upper levels, and then we'll dive into that. There's that energy that will be moving east. One thing that looks to be still happening is up across Greenland, we'll likely see some blocking as we head into the first week of December. And when I say blocking, I mean a ridge, and that's going to force cold air down into the eastern United States. I still think that happens as we move toward, again, the end of the month into December. And this is going to set up for a cold month as we move into meteorological winter, which begins December 1st. All right, let's look at what's going on through Monday. We've got an area of low pressure moving toward the Great Lakes. That's going to bring some snow on the northern side of that, and another system moving into the west. It's going to bring some heavy snow into the Sierra, some rain into California. It may actually push into southern California. I don't know. Most of the concentrated moisture will be across central parts of the state. And then there's the rain moving east. Some much needed rain here too, from Michigan south all the way to Indiana, Ohio. Not as much rain though on the southern side of this. A little bit of snow across parts of Minnesota, also northern Michigan, the UP of Michigan. Not a lot, but some. And now we're watching what's moving out of the Rockies for the potential development of our winter system. Let's look at the snow across the west. It could get heavy, not only in the Sierra, but also into the Rockies here, the Colorado Rockies specifically. 1, 2, maybe even up to 3 feet in some of the highest elevations. We're going to get a foot or more of snow from into the Wasatch. Ski season across the west is getting off to a great start. Let's zoom in on the Great Lakes here as that area of low pressure moves northeast heading into Monday afternoon. We've got snow here into northern Wisconsin, up towards Duluth, a couple of inches possible out of this. Also the UP of Michigan, and that's moving into Ontario with the rain showers to the south. Too warm for snow. We're too warm for snow too. And speaking of Ontario, places like Toronto, you got to get north of that here. North of Lake Superior and Lake Huron, that's where the snow will be across Ontario. And that moves to the east. Maybe a little bit of freezing rain and some ice too into the northeast. And rain showers push east into New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, and into the deep south as we head into Tuesday afternoon and eventually into Wednesday. We dry out as high pressure builds in though for Wednesday, and I don't know about this. We start to see some moisture return ahead of our next system, which starts to develop, which we're going to get to in just a second. Here's your snow totals I was talking about there across Minnesota, also Wisconsin, maybe a couple of inches here. I wouldn't be shocked if we also see a couple of inches across the other side of the border into Canada here, into southern parts of Ontario, 3 to 6 inches, I think. And again, not much snow south of that line here down into the lower 48. Let's look ahead in time. High pressure across the plain states. This is where we're starting to build that cold air in behind our front that's going to move through the east. So temperatures dropping here, and there's the snow getting heavy across the Colorado Rockies. You know, a couple of the models were trying to develop this lee side low and then push the moisture upslope here. And I think that still happens. So that could dump some snow into parts of Colorado, maybe even east of the mountains too. And then here comes the problem in my mind and in the model data output too. By Wednesday, this is the European developing low pressure somewhere bringing it across Memphis, then toward Louisville on the north side of that. Is it going to be cold enough for some snow? The European from overnight said it will be cold enough. I don't know that I actually believe in this just yet, only because, well, the GFS took a U-turn last night. That's not what you want to see when you want to grow your confidence in a forecast. And I started the video out saying there's a battle happening, and this is it, the battle of the forecasting models. I was reading some data from the National Weather Service too, looking at the Weather Prediction Center's long-range discussion. They're talking about how their confidence just went off a cliff too last night when they saw the overnight run of the GFS. They're not diving into the GFS solution, which is much different. So let's go with the European for right now and just kind of look at it. That puts snow still across Ohio. Yesterday's run was a little bit different. It had the snow quite a bit heavier, so I would argue that maybe the European from last night trended a little bit warmer and a little bit closer to the GFS, but not quite so. I'll show you in just a second. This has the low very close to Pittsburgh on the north side of that snow. That would be from northern Ohio into northern Pennsylvania and New York, and then into the northeast, with low pressure deepening as it gets towards the coast. That would put heavy snow into the inland areas of the northeast. Rain for the cities from Boston, New York, down to New Jersey, the Delmarva, too warm, but into the Appalachians. And then on the backside of this, now we're getting that northwest flow, so lake effect snow showers will start to pick up. And there could be some heavier snow on the backside of this as it pulls away Friday into Saturday. Another weak system may bring a reinforcing shot of some cold air and lake effect snow. Temperatures here, by the way, we're going below normal. I know it's only late November. A lot of folks coming on the channel going, what are you talking about? It's not that cold. I mean, it's November, but we're going to look at those averages and those departures in just a second. But this is an idea of the European ensembles. This is using different parameters, different outputs. The idea is still averaging some snow here on the north side of our system. The GFS says, oh, a total different beast that it's showing. That was the 60 run. That was the overnight run right here. This was yesterday's run. It was a lot colder and it had a lot more snow. The operational GFS showing very little, if any, snow into the northeast. And in fact, if I back it up, some of this is really just lake effect snow, and then other than that, just snow into the mountains as our northwest winds come in behind the system. Let's look at the cold, because we are going to see below normal temperatures this week. Once we move into Monday and Tuesday, it first starts off across the central plains. Out ahead of our system, though, temperatures are good 10 to 15, almost 20 degrees above average in places like Texas, across to Louisiana, into the deep south, Mississippi, Alabama. Here comes your cold, though, 15, maybe even 20 degrees below average across parts of North Dakota, and then closer to average, at least across the central part of the country, with a warming trend going on across the Four Corners states. Let's move east, because again, this setup, as we head into not just the coming week, but maybe even into December, I think this pattern starts to stick, this northwest flow pattern, at least through Christmas. Will we get a break every now and then? I think we will, but the long-range probabilities are increasing, at least in my mind, that we are seeing below average temperatures. This is the monthly outlook. 30-day outlook from December 1 to December 30th. You can see in fact, it's getting stronger. This was the run from yesterday. The day before, it was trending colder. It's even colder today. And I think some of this is also accounting for the cold that's on the way at the beginning of the month. Because look at these temperatures across the east heading into Monday and Tuesday above average, but we say goodbye to that, close to normal by the time we get to Tuesday. And then here comes a decent push of cold air by Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures dropping close to 10 to 15, maybe even up to 20 degrees below average in the south. That cold air pushing all the way into the south, so temperatures pretty chilly. I mean, I get it, right? Maybe not as cold across the northern part of the United States, but here in the South, and I am concerned about our friends in Western North Carolina with temperatures getting pretty cold, especially as we head into the first week of December. We could be looking at a solid 10 to 20 degrees below average across the east. So that would have temperatures like this, single digits across Minnesota, teens and 20s from the Midwest, with below freezing temperatures clearly here in the mountains into the teens and 20s, and then very cold for around the 3rd and the 4th with almost single digit temperatures. And I would argue the mountains probably would be in the single digits into North Carolina and Virginia and West Virginia. Cold into the interior northeast. And listen, I know this isn't below zero, complete Arctic blast, end of the world type cold, but that's pretty chilly. That's a good 10, 15 to 20 degrees below normal for this time of year. So it's definitely a cold blast of air, and high temperatures aren't rebounding much in this period either. Not getting above freezing really from about this line north. So pretty cold. Early December. Does it last into the winter? Heck if I know. But I'll be watching it. So come back. I'll see you.